here. So the phone's sitting in direct sun, so I don't know if it's going to overheat or anything like that. This is all just learning how to do this, so bear with me. I'll come back to where the phone and check comments and stuff like that. Other than that, obviously, I'm just going to be working away. So I'll switch it to there we go. It's the front view. So this is my plot. It's a trapezoidal shape. I might just pan across there a little bit. Yep. So that plant in the corner there, it's not turmeric or ginger, it's another plant. I can't remember its name, but I'm going to be cutting that back and digging it up and keeping all the root or the rhizomes for replanting somewhere else here in the garden. I'm going to donate a bunch of them. And in the corner there to the right of the compost bin is nasturtium. I'm going to keep that there for now, just in the corner. Just here in front there's spinach there. I'm going to take some of that home and make lunch. And there's also chives. I'm going to have spinach and chives pasta. All this green stuff here in the foreground is mint, and I'm going to dig up a lot of that. I'm going to dry it out to make mint tea. So because I'm not going to have mint growing in the garden because I've got plans to have a bunch of other stuff. So I will keep some of the mint plants to pot up at home in pots, but the rest of it I'm basically going to harvest and dry it out and make mint tea. And actually I'm going to have some, I'm going to have spinach and chives pasta for lunch with stuff from the garden here, and then I'm going to have like a waffle with ice cream, nasturtium flowers and mint on top for dessert. So I'm going to try and use everything that I can in the garden today for that. Awesome. We've got a Pages here. She says it looks, here we go, here we go, chat. Awesome. Paige says that's a delicious idea. Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait. I'll take photos of the lunch I make too and put it on the page there. So I'm going to get started. So what I'm basically, see that pile of in the center of the view there? That's apple branches from an apple tree I pruned the other day here in the orchard, and I cut them all up into bits, and also mulberry branches. So what I'm going to do is down this end of my plot, I'm going to make one hugelkultur mound garden. So hugelkultur is where you plant like woody material, like branches and logs, and then that becomes the basis for all the microbes and worms and stuff like that. And we got a butcher bird over there in the center of the camera, little butcher bird. So it's going to come and visit because it knows that I'll be digging up worms. I'll get started. So there it goes. It'll be back. Once it hears me digging, it'll start. So I hope you all have an awesome time, and I'm just going to get started. I'll come back to the camera every so often and I'll check in and have a look and read any comments and things like that. So I'm looking at the height of that. I should be able to do that. Oh no, maybe that's a bit better. All right. You should be able to hear me too if I speak loud enough. I'm the only one here at the garden, so anyway, if anyone rocks up, they'll hear me talking away. They're like, who are you talking to? So I'm going to dig up all that mint, keep some of it in to be replanted, and then you know, quite a decent amount, because it'll be good actually at home to replace some other ground cover. And going to harvest some chives and spinach. What was in the compost heap I'm going to put over into this hugelkultur, my first garden bed that I'm preparing today. Up down the end here, there's a lot of parsley and stuff, but that's just going to get dug up. Any good green material is going to go into the hugelkultur, but I'm going to separate out the grass. All of this plant here that I cut out, I might actually start with that. That's going to become part of the hugelkultur, and then I'm going to dig up all the rootstock, which will get replanted. We've got the butcherbird here, baby butcherbird. I haven't started digging yet. Butcherbird's just here. It's flown off again. It'll come back. Once I start digging, it'll be here because it's gonna... This was a lot there was a lot more moisture in the soil here, but it got cleaned up when I first bought this plot, hired it, rented it. I get it for a year for $144. You know, it's pretty awesome. So I haven't worked out the square meterage, but it's like 2.2 meters there, almost 4 meters that way, and almost 8 meters this way. So I will calculate the square meterage. Probably later on today. And I've done a map to get the orientation to see where the sun is. So we're in midwinter, and there's something in the front of this, like a little table, which creates a bit of shade, but we're in midwinter, so the sun's on a low arc in the north, and as it goes into summer, the sun will be coming up over that side. So there's big trees along the edge here, and then you got the orchard. You can't really see it too well, but basically this has got really good orientation. I mean, pretty much most of the plots here have got really good orientation, but this gets good sunlight, which is a big thing. So I'll just keep working away. Got a nice smell. Yeah, so I still don't know what this is. Someone told me what it is the other day, but I would say it's edible. It's not ginger. And it's not turmeric. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if anyone can identify this. Either way, I'm keeping all this, obviously, and we're going to do something with it. always good to do when you're working. Just stop every so often and give yourself a rest, even if it's for 10 seconds. While you're doing that, you can reassess what you're doing. I don't know what this vine is. This could be a weed. I probably won't replant it, just unless I knew what it was. This is some of that spinach. I'm going to put this here. So I'm going to take. So yeah, mattock, it's the most important tool next to a shovel, next to secateurs, next to gloves, next to a hat. They're all important. But for, you know, digging, preparing soil, sowing seeds, use it for everything. You know, back in the day in Australia and in America, I know this here, but everywhere else is probably the same. You know, you could work anywhere. This is fused on there. Normally I would break this down when I'm not using it, so people could travel with the mattock, and you could put it in your backpack or your swag and get work wherever you are. Hey, how you going, Di?
Yeah, what a nice place to be.
It is beautiful.
I was later, I'm meeting a guy to go to coach.
Oh yeah, cool.
And then I thought I'll come down, and then my sister says, let's go to Orion Hills for lunch. So I can't say no. So I
At the
have to,
meeting there.
no,
Oh, no, with another friend.
Yeah, so I can't come down and do this.
Yeah.
Are you getting all that stuff out?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
And this is
Galangal.
that one. The Galangal.
Galangal, that is.
And it's a sort of, it's edible.
It's edible, yeah, yeah. I must admit, I haven't ever eaten it, but you use it like ginger.
Yep. Yeah, I had
Just use it like, did you taste it?
and it tasted, it had a ginger sort of.
Yeah.
flavour.
Just use it like ginger. And ginger's so expensive anyway.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to replant some, but I'm going to, I'll wash some and put it in the thing, depending on what's to replant on Sunday.
Yeah. But but don't let it get really big.
No, I want to utilise the entire space.
So like Russ, my husband used to have that cloth.
Yep.
And I used to just keep a tiny bit like that.
Yeah. In the corners, it gives you a little bit of protection.
Yeah. And that's more than I would even keep.
At least it's reasonably self-contained, shallow root. It's not going to take over.
No.
You can easily keep it back. Just cut the exterior on.
Although I would have thought where those pomegranates are, it almost took that a whole bed over.
Yeah.
I mean, if you let it grow, it will.
It'll just take out like the mint
But
has.
shallow, like the mint.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to plant some of this at home to suppress the other ground cover.
Yes.
I'd rather have mint in the backyard than this other stuff.
Yeah, I'm always putting mint out. It's when I was digging up the nut grass, the mint runners are just as bad. The only thing is they don't have nuts, otherwise they'd be pests.
Take over, yeah. And you can always just hit them with the whippersnipper and keep them. Like, because that was huge before they cleaned up this area for me.
Yeah.
Galangal, thanks for that. I'm doing a stream at the moment, so people can watch me. Sorry, but it's came off.
That's right. There's my designs.
Beautiful.
That can't be more than 300 though. So that looks a bit more than 300. But so that might not work because then that's going to be too fat to lean over. This might be the better. You
could build a little insert there.
Yeah, that's true.
Which would take out a little bit. It will take out only a small amount. You can calculate you're losing 1 square metre to gain just as much. Otherwise, you may as well just build the whole thing smaller dimension.
Yeah. This is problematic if you have half a pot.
Yep.
You'd have to have that and that, and the other person have that.
Exactly.
This is easy.
Yes, that's easy. Yeah.
But I don't know any
There'll be
other
more offcuts with this, but if they use 3 metre lengths, the offcuts could become the post possibly. Because they don't need you don't need to make the post go deep into the ground. You can actually be sitting flat on the ground. Once you fill it with soil, it's very stable.
Do you want to, could I suggest to him that, there's a member that wouldn't mind, a bit of offside, bit of contracting work, if you want?
Yeah, he could hire me. I've got an ABN.
Yeah.
Tell him I've got an ABN. He can hire me for it.
I'll
do half my rates.
Yeah.
Because I'm donating the rest in kind to the project.
Yeah.
And you can even put that in the submission proposal.
Yes.
That I'll do half price.
Yes.
But he should still quote for what is worthwhile for him to do the job. But him knowing that he's got someone, and I've got experience where I can do cut big holes, lay out, measure.
I mean,
so it'd take a lot of stress off for him having someone that.
I don't know. Yes, because he said, I just rang him. He says, "Oh shit." I forgotten. He says, "All right, I'm in the gap. I'll be 10 minutes."
Yeah.
He says, "I haven't finished this job
yet." So is he coming down here?
Yeah, he's coming down. He's coming down shortly. So I thought, that's Luke. I wonder if I could just say to him that Luke.
Yeah, I'll tell him offside. I'll do it for half my rates. I'll say I normally charge $50 an hour, so I'll do it for $25.
Yeah.
And
but we always say. I always have to say in any submission that the members will help with labour. So it'll all go in together.
Well, they could be included extra.
Yes,
Non-charge.
Yeah.
So,
that'd be good fun.
so he knows that he's not going to outlay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
that are willing to do 3 hours as well
Yeah.
for the course of the
So, I
garden.
mean, there's a lot need, isn't there? I'm just looking at that there.
Yeah. Well, you know, you could almost go and resurvey the entire place.
I think you should. I think what I'll get him to do is quote for 30, no, 20, 20 edges all round.
Yeah.
And 10, 12 grand.
Yeah.
Half 800, half 600.
Yeah.
That would be a good average sort of a quote to work out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then we just give or take a few. Who cares?
And we can do the finishing. So once they've got that in place, the community garden comes in and backfills it with soil.
Yeah.
So they're the things that really take a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh, I rang up. I've got to get 2 quotes. I rang up Lou's.
Yeah.
Do you know that the premium garden soil that's got a lot of compost in it
Yeah.
is $98 something a
Cubic
cubic
metre.
metre.
Yeah.
And then delivery, a truck of 6 cubic metres is $50.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Expensive, yeah.
That's why I need $100,000.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I was thinking is, I mean, I can't guess how much, you know.
We hire dingoes for that
Yeah,
too.
that's what I was
I
thinking.
can operate that.
Can you?
Yeah.
So we could do that
We
ourselves.
could do that
I
ourselves.
was wondering whether to ask this guy.
No, save it.
Would it go
Then we
with
only
little
we only
dingo?
have to pay for the hire of it. Get it for like 3 days or something.
Would dingo food go through the
Absolutely,
narrow
absolutely.
bit? No, the other side, the
In
narrower
between,
bit.
yes, but you got to lift the bucket up.
Okay.
But you can. I think they're 600 wide.
Because we just go zoom in, zoom
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you can. There's 2 different sizes of too. So
Yeah.
we get the
It's called the dingo, is it?
dingo. Yeah, that's
Okay.
and there's other. That's the brand, the original
Yeah.
brand design with all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's I can operate that, and other people here could, you know,
Yeah.
anyone can get on them. You
Yeah.
don't have to have a license or
Yeah.
anything. So
Oh, that'll be good.
yeah,
Can we guess? Like, you can just educated guess.
Yeah.
Let's get work on that one.
yeah,
How many cubic meters? So if you let's work on 600. Yeah, we just said the other 20. 600. 200 of that, I would think would be branches and logs and stuff, wouldn't it?
yeah.
So 400 by.
Well, that's it. Once to get it accurate, we need to measure each one, especially because they're trapezoid. These ones are trapezoid shapes, but these ones are probably square enough. We got to measure them, and then get the volume, and then we can easily calculate.
Oh, cool.
So we could go 20% is the humiculture stuff, like the branches and that, and then the rest is the soil, and then it's patched down. You might need to, because it's when you put it in.
Hello,
Right. Wayne, please meet you.
This is Luke.
Luke, please meet you.
Yeah. Actually,
Lovely.
Luke's a member. Yeah.
Yeah,
He just happened to be down here working on his plot.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
Starting.
but he's available if you want another contractor for the job.
Okay.
He does a lot of
Keep
that
in
stuff.
mind.
Keep it in
Okay.
mind.
Yeah, I've got to go a couple of guys.
It's already sorted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you can fill them up.
I'll be
Well, we're
doing
just
the.
talking about that thing.
I'll be doing the.
Well, everyone has to help.
Yeah, exactly. That the volunteering side.
Yeah.
And backfilling and stuff like that. You know, once you do finishing, you don't have to do the backfilling.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I've got an excavator as well, so if you want
Oh, perfect.
anything to...
So are you?
Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, nice to
Oh,
meet you.
mate, nice to meet you, mate.
So you've been in here before?
I've got a view that, the outside of the
Oh
road.
yeah, and the ticket stuff.
No, that's right. Take it over. Other side of the creek.
Oh, I didn't. So this is the alternative part. So there's 30 parts. I tried to give you a lecture on that, but it's pretty heavy. At least a little tricky memory that there's a circular thing. So there's 30 pots, a couple of extra bits, but we won't worry about that. All of that is orchard from the bananas right along right up. All fruit trees. Yep, and then there's a little veggie area over in that corner there. And then there's a bit of bush type of stuff up, you know, bushy area there. Even the lines. Yeah. And so these plots are leased to Pitmans over leasing the wood annually. They're about, I don't know, so it's about 170. I can just grow herbs and cut that cost.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So so let's just take a typical plot. Give me that one. You can see that there needs to be some attention.
Yeah.
Not all of them have got this chunky bed. They've got some others. But I did have an idea of having a bit of seating around here. I think that's what the idea of that was, but it's a little bit too small. Yeah. So the meeting's not till Sunday. If you can give me a real rough estimate quote, so I won't hold you to, but will give me no idea.
Did you want to replicate something that was
Not all of them. So what I'll be doing to saying to everyone if it goes through that they can decide what they want themselves. So what number this is. We'll give you. I'll mark the plot numbers. And plot 25 wants to have tops and bottoms inside stuff. Plot 26 wants raised bed to 600 metres. 600 millimetres. So each. Yes, you will. If I say quote for 20 replace edges and bottoms, and 10 raised beds. Five at 600 mils and 5 at 800 mils. That would be sensible, and then I'm sure we can work it out.
square metres of it?
Yeah, the slight differences with pathways and things like that. I don't know the measurements. But this is the idea that I had for the raised beds. That might be more than 300. It needs to be 300, doesn't it? A length.
Feet per metre?
Yeah.
Per metre.
Because that's the timber, that's the height of the timbers about 3 metres, isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know, and sometimes people only want a half
Well,
plot.
if you want to sort of raise them, you want that to be inside it, really.
Well, that's your thing. That's your half.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's too
That's the limit.
well, yeah, look, I would be able to reach. Yeah, would be able to reach. There's over here there's a place, this is a wicking bed, what they call a wicking bed, it's self-watering. Some of the, see, a lot of, no, some of them
I don't know what this is. It's Galangal. So this is like ginger, just like I thought when I tried a bit. And you can use it like that in cooking. So I've been away chatting for a bit. I'm just back. Kind of looks like celery. It does a bit. You're back. Sounds like a nice conversation. Awesome, thank you. Yes, it was. They're getting some raised garden beds. And that's the guy coming to quote on the job. And I'll hopefully get to rent 1 or 2 of those raised garden beds so I can do nature therapy work with people planting some stuff in the garden. So when I start my business like that, I'll have a place where I can work, and I've asked permission whether I can do that, and so far it sounds like there's a good chance I'll be able to, which is awesome. So yeah, Galangal, delicious. So I'm going to come this home I'm going to donate some of this, replant some of it here. Good thing about this stuff is it will just grow in clumps, so I can use it as a barrier and that sort of stuff. So it will be beneficial to replant some of it. I do like ginger and turmeric, so maybe I could plant all three in sections and little bits. It's also good as a climber too. You could plant beans or peas, any sort of climbing plant next to this stuff, and it will climb up it, and like a trellis. So I've got all that cut out now. So the next thing will be I'll come back to focusing on this corner. So I might even move the camera a bit so that it's facing from a different direction. And then, so you can see where I'm working. I will move this so you can see this. See, there's a trellis there. So I could take this out. I probably will take this out. And there's some bricks here that I don't want, but I'll just leave them there for now. I might be able to use them. But yeah, I will take this frame out because I've got different plans for this section. I can reuse this somewhere else in the garden. So what I might do, I'm looking at where the sun is. There we go. There we go. Better view.
Different sizes.
Some very rich soil here because it's in the shade, and all that. The rest of the garden's been. This used to have ground cover over it, but now it's been removed. So the soil's lost all its moisture. But down here it's still very lush. But this is where I'll be working now. I'm going to clear 600 by 1.8, you know, 5.5 foot sort of thing by 1.5 foot. I'm going to dig down, remove all the material, and then I'm going to place all this stuff here that I've cut up, the banana, and might even actually go a bit wider because I do have a decent amount. And that'll be the start of my first hugelkultur bed here. That way I've got time to actually think about what I'm going to do for the rest of it. This is starting with the smaller section, working in to the deeper section. A lot of rubbish and bits and pieces from when I inherited this, so there's rocks and bits of plastic and stuff like that I need to remove. go this section. So about 2.5 foot, 800, 900 deep, which means I'll dig out these chives here and I'll take them home, replant them at home.
So these, for example, they'll come and say, they might even say just do the top, you know? Yeah. They might even, that's stupid doing, isn't it? Is there a way to do a good, this stuff can be, it's still okay. I think it's just that they're all messy, and you may have to start again for a lot of stuff. What we'll do with so what we would know is the measurement. So the season, the growing season, you're going to see so it's probably not a bad time of year for the hot. The downside for the summer is a hot dog, but probably over the Christmas period until January would be the best time to do it. I'm confident of the ground. But yeah, and then start to use that. So you know you don't have to do the job. And I don't know if any other people around my own. I was looking upstairs. You're talking about the
Just pulling out all this mince, what I'm going to take home and use for dessert.
And the rainbow.
Oh no, there's parsley. Oh well.
A lot. So yeah, that'll be fine. But I'm a little bit
Or
concerned.
cilantro, I don't know.
It's really important to a better garden and
There's lots and lots of this mint here, so I don't have to worry too much. I'm actually going to reuse most of this stuff in the section as the organic material. The main thing is removing grass that's going to come back up through.
I don't think there's too much.
Before I start digging, I want to remove what I want to remove out here.
Outside, because the inside might be slightly smaller, then they'll be undercurving a bit. Really, really close. I think that's all I think I've covered everything for now. Yeah, so there'll be people. We'll have to put in this. Yes. It doesn't necessarily, it's not that size, it'll be whatever you put in. What I'm saying is, that's right. See, if you sometimes you go through the middle of this side, that's probably that one's the side. But when you get up to here, that's why I thought you have to have two passageways through, or
I think that's
you
good.
go this way, 1.5, 1.5. You know what I mean? So on that first one,
I'm going to use the rake.
you go 1.5, 1.5. See what that looks like.
I can really see where the grass is once I get into it.
I'd cross it in at that time. I don't find it.
Awesome, there's 4 people here. So I've got that area pretty good now. Let's check what's in the chat. I'll check that one, Paul. Paul said you should play Grow a Garden. Sounds like a video game. Yeah, and those birds or something, someone screaming. Oh yeah, there was kids playing and there was birds singing. But yeah, I'll check that one out, Paul. That sounds fun. It's cool when video games can actually be educational. So dig for a bit. And then I'll pull out.
I can email you measurements. Yeah.
Surprised the birds haven't come back yet because I'm digging. I can see a bush bird over there. They'll be back. I haven't seen many worms though. Here's one.
That's what I'm trying to check.
Right, you have to work out sort of what gap you want.
So I can then send you. If we talk about it like that, like expectation to take those, and then the other 10, up to section five. A lot of timber, isn't it? That's right. And so if we, depending on the cost, we might reduce them.
Cage Pastor says
See, what we do is we just
there's so many mini games on Roblox. It's fun. Yeah, I'll check it out. So I'm about halfway over halfway. So once I get to the other end there, I'm going to dig a channel in the middle, and I'm going to get all this organic material, put it in the channel, and then I'm going to cover it with dirt. And it'll be like a raised garden bed. You notice in this next section what I'm going to do is you'll see I alternate with left hand and right hand with the mattock, and if you do that you don't end up with sore back or sore muscles. You also can work longer without having to take a break. It's good all round. You just got to remember to alternate. Same when you're shoveling any tool like that, you alternate left and right hand. You can work all day, you don't have to stop. People who just dig one way, they end up with a sore back. They end up building up one side of their body more than the other, and they get tired and they can't work all day. Another thing, notice I'm trying not to stand on what I've just dug because that'll just compact it down again. I want to keep the soil sort of aerated, fluffy until I choose to cover it again. Also, you know where you're working then too. See how I alternated then? So I went all the way left-handed and then I went back the other way right-handed. You got more power too, because if you do it all the way one way, you get tired halfway and then you're not doing even strokes or even like digs. So it's not as accurate and then you end up having to do more work anyway. See, even pulling grass and weeds out, your hands get tired and instead of getting the right grip, you end up ripping the root at the base and you don't actually pull it out. Which again, you're not even doing the job properly then. you can't avoid it breaking and not pulling it out by the root, but that's why the mattock's here. So once I do this, I go over it, and then I'm pulling out the root sections that were broken. But this means I'm not burying this stuff as I dig it.
So I don't mind you can come around. You can come around with it.
So what I might do here is I might work backwards. That way. This is good soil. Oh, look at that. Massive earthworm. Can't show you. Letting it go back into the soil quick. So I dug that, so that's where I'm going to stand. So I'm not compressing down. I'm going to dig this channel out anyway, but I'm going to catch my breath before I do the next bit. Just got this last section. Then I'll rest and then I'll dig the channel.
And then if people say to me, oh, no, leave mine untied, that, I think it's the easiest way to do it. Thank you for the mucking around. And you're going to now be like, you can't knock off.
There you go.
I was really frustrating him.
Oh, sorry, it's a lot good.
Because I thought he would.
Just so you know, I've got the thing going.
Ah.
It's
No, you can be in it if you don't mind, just so you don't.
Oh yeah, don't swear or something like that.
No, just you didn't want to be in it.
I thought that he would tell me more, but he just wants the measurements.
Yeah.
That's a job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's difficult because it is like that to calculate the quote.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
can't really quote until he knows exactly what it is.
Yes.
So I guess that's good.
So,
So it's a multi-stage thing. So we've got to
yeah.
get more measurements of things.
Well, I just, when I worked it out, I kind of, the measurement is 6.5.
Yeah.
And we measured those booking beds leaning in,
Yes.
and they're 1.5, but it'll make it still too thick up the top end.
Yes.
But I said around about 0.7 in between, maybe 0.6, that was me calculating. I don't know if I added up correctly. 1.6, 0.7, 1.6, 0.7, and 1.9 should be good at 6.5. And then, there's the measurement. So we could then work out volume from that, couldn't we?
Yes.
I said if you can give me a roughly, you probably won't give any more specific than that, but that'll be good enough to work out.
Yeah.
So how do you work out volume from that?
Well, they're not squares,
No.
but that doesn't matter. We just need the surface area.
Yeah.
And then work upwards.
So we've got like 1.9 by. Oh, we haven't measured this, have we? Oh yes, half of that.
No, but it
2.4.
tapers. It tapers. See how it tapers?
Yeah, but we can't be that accurate.
We can. I'm happy to go back over and remeasure and get those. We do need those dimensions, top and bottom, to get an accurate volume.
Yeah. All right.
Because
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 weeks to do that.
Yeah.
It's not like
and you say $60 a cubic meter.
Yeah.
If you're out by 2
No,
cubic
I know,
meters,
no,
a 90.
$100.
$100 a cubic
yeah.
meter because you've got to include the delivery.
Yeah.
So
No, even more. 100.
even more, 110.
What's
You get about 6 cubic meters on a truck, don't you?
Yes. Yes. So say $10.
Yeah.
110. Yeah. 110. 110 per cubic meter.
Yeah.
And
So
then
if we're out by 2 cubic meters, that's $220. So,
expensive,
and it's
huh?
easy to be out by that much on something that big.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it,
Yeah.
there's several cubic meters in each one.
Yeah.
But there will be that putting in all the logs and branches and things. We could
Yeah.
put a call out to tree arborists
Yeah.
to donate some sections,
Yeah. Yep.
and that can just drop them off, and we'll bring them in or something,
Yeah. Cool. That'd be good.
and just pick some species that we
Yeah.
know is good.
Good. Yeah.
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 So there's Alex, the tree guy or whatever, Alex and Ashgrove
Yeah.
Garden Services or Ashgrove Tree Services,
Yeah. Yep.
and there's another one.
Maybe just save them chipping it all.
You would, yeah, exactly. They save a bit of time as long as they've got a truck where they can put it to the side,
Yeah, they might only have the.
because then they need to get it out, and
Yeah.
also they've got to be doing a job locally,
Yeah.
so they empty it before they go home.
Yeah.
But if we've got a couple of weeks or a month or
Yeah.
so, that gives them time, and then they
Oh,
can
we'd
just
have-
come and
We'll have a year.
we just give them a space to
Yeah.
drop it, and
Yeah.
then they can just call and say, oh, we just dropped off some.
Yeah. We could, as long as.
Able Tree Services.
Yeah.
They're good. I know the guys who run them.
It takes 4 months.
So I
for
could
grant.
ask them.
So it takes 4 months to get approval for a grant.
Yeah.
I said it'll probably be over the Christmas, January time. So it'll be hot, you see what I'm used to that.
Yeah.
And then we've got till now to get it right, probably to the end of the year.
Yeah.
So if we can't get, I had to tell him 3 times I wanted my tree tied.
Yes.
What's the one that's treated?
Yeah.
It's really good. Couldn't use it. So that
I'm
was-
trying to think which one it is, because most hardwood is some tree. There's only some that they do tree. But I can do some searching to Google search and what prices and good ones.
Yeah. Well, all I've done so far is Narangba timbers, and
Yeah.
I think almost $50 for 3,000. 200.
And you pay more for the straighter pieces. And for this sort of thing, it would be much nicer to have a nice straight one. When they bow a bit, they bow more, and then soil leaks out, and we've got to put like a lining on the inside anyway.
There's Is that, do they go because they're too green?
That, yep, to green,
Yeah.
and also haven't been stored, like, and rough cut too.
Yeah.
So you get dressed or finished timber
Oh,
that's
yeah.
been cut nicer,
Yeah.
and so they have landscaping grade for, like,
Yeah.
you know, you can get the really rough stuff,
Yeah.
and it will get more bows and twists because it is still shrinking.
Yes.
It depends on how long it's been curing.
Yeah.
So you can ask, you know. The other thing is some places you can go and pick the timber yourself.
Yep.
So, like, you can pick out
Yeah.
the good bits.
Yeah. What I'd ideally like is untreated recycled timber.
Yeah,
But that would take.
that'd take a while.
Yeah. Like I don't think we can. I can put a good job in there. So
Yeah.
that could be.
Each one's, yeah, for sure.
Just keep breaking it or something.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing with the rough cut stuff, much more splinters. So even brushing past it, people get splinters in their legs, they'll get splinters in their hands.
Well, what would this have been?
This has been finished to a decent. You can see the saw marks there.
Yeah.
See them?
Yeah.
But this is pretty well finished.
Yeah.
Much.
See how pretty good it is already?
Yeah.
But I don't know how old that is.
That's it.
I only know from the end bits.
You can get the rough stuff, and you've just got to go over every piece with a sander or a planer,
Yeah.
which takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You could build it and then just go over the outside
Yeah.
where there is going to be splinters.
Yeah.
So there's options.
Actually, when we do an edge down the side, there's going to have to be joints, isn't there?
Yeah.
If they're not doing
Yeah,
a raised
you're not
bed.
going to be able to get 5 metre stuff. Well, that's longer than it's like 7.8 or 8, 9 metres.
And that joining's
8 metres.
That joining has to be better, doesn't it?
Oh, you can do much better join than that. You can also get those I-beams,
Yeah.
which are metal,
Yeah.
that they use that have got the slots.
Yeah.
And so you put them in the ground,
Yeah.
and then you've just got like a little bit of metal sticking up.
Cool.
They're not that expensive, and you apply by long lengths and
Yeah.
cut them.
Yeah.
We can cut them up ourselves.
I think I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to be watch them closely and what they
See what they do.
Yeah.
I think the I-beam method is probably the best because it
Yeah.
keeps them both in both directions,
Yeah.
and they just slot in. You don't even have to screw them into it. You can if you want. You can put a
Yeah.
screw through,
Yeah.
but you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can even just wedge it.
Yeah.
Once you've got them in there,
Yeah.
you pick which face you want it to be flush against,
And the
and
wedge.
you put a wedge on the other
Yeah,
side,
yeah,
and it pushes it hard
yeah.
up against it.
Yeah.
And see, you don't get any of this stuff.
Yeah. We don't. Yeah.
There's nothing stopping this. So I'm going to fix my one up myself. Don't have to worry about this one.
Oh,
I'm going to go through and redo mine.
you do it to your.
Yeah.
Oh no,
You
you
can see
should
it's
do. Look
rotten.
at that.
Yeah, it's rotten at the base. It was going to do that anyway.
Well, it's just going to replace. Just
Yeah.
that you got to wait till the end of the year. You can do a quick
right.
job.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do.
Do a quick job and
I'll
then-
do a quick
yeah.
job and then
Yeah.
come back to it because I definitely have to do it over that corner. It's completely flat almost,
Yeah.
so the
yeah.
mower can barely get through that down that aisle.
Yeah, I did that to mine. I put it up, but all
Yeah.
the nut grass is getting in off the
It comes in
pathways.
underneath.
Yeah,
Yeah, so because it could travel that way because if you're not got too deep,
yeah.
but
Anyway,
there's-
I can see how we're going to have to watch
I can
this
eas-
closely.
yeah,
Like what are you going? I'm going to have to question what when I get a quote.
yeah.
I'm going to say what's this? What is that exactly?
Yeah.
What does that do? Make
I've
sure.
got some offcuts of that I-beam stuff at home.
Yeah.
I'll bring it in and show you.
Yeah.
And you can get different grades. You don't need the heavy duty because it's not for a retaining wall.
Yeah.
You can get the lighter duty, it's much cheaper
Yeah.
and easier to cut as well because it's thinner
Yeah.
and galvanised. So it's going to last for 20 years or more. And then it doesn't even have to be, you can drive it into the ground and use them like that.
Yeah.
Or you can set them in a little bit of cement. So you've got options of doing either. And for the purpose of this, you could just drive them in.
Yeah.
And
He couldn't. I don't think he could understand. He said, "Can't we just have someone where they step into?"
you want to make it, it's all about access for people who can't bend and can't climb. It's
Yes.
safety. It's all right if it's your own backyard. But
So obviously,
the whole
hasn't,
point,
hasn't
isn't it?
done this job anymore.
Yeah, no, it's
But
the whole point.
I suppose it is a request that's unusual,
Exactly.
isn't it?
yeah.
Can't expect me, you know.
No, but it is
So
a
he was
common
getting
question.
frustrated with me. He was frustrated. He says, you know, it's Friday afternoon. He didn't say that.
There's been so many people who've climbed up into their raised garden beds and then
Yes.
fallen out and had a bad injury.
Yeah.
So you have to, you're not meant to get up inside them. You're meant to work from the outside in.
Yes. Either they're here
Yeah.
or they're here.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they're for people who can't
Yeah.
bend down anymore.
Yeah.
So they want to still keep gardening. So they want to be able to.
So how to explain?
So even the lower ones aren't suitable for a lot of people.
No.
They need to be up at that higher.
That's why I said 800.
Yeah,
Some
800 is
some
much
are
better.
800, yeah. I don't know if all, we measured that and it was 500, the
Yeah.
wicking beds. What I fear though is if you put up some snow peas, like for a little shorty like me, and I've got 800 and then I'm going to put,
It's going to be high.
it's going to be too high.
Yeah, I was, that on YouTube, Self-Sufficient Me. He's local to Queensland. It's a really great YouTube channel. He's ex-army with PTSD and he's cured it by gardening. He has raised garden beds. Most of his gardens now raised garden beds. He keeps adding to it. And he did a thing recently where you get the mesh, like the weld mesh, and you put it like about that far or that far above the top. So instead of having this thing growing up a trellis that way, the trellis has been laid horizontal, and he grows, like zucchinis and things like that,
Yeah.
and cucumbers.
Yeah.
And instead of
Horizontally. I've
horizontally,
seen that
and it
for-
keeps them off the soil, and you
Yes.
can do the same thing.
Yes.
So that the only thing is when you get to harvest time, you can't reach in that far.
Yeah.
You have to like literally take the whole thing off, harvest the whole lot in one go.
Yeah. I've seen that for rock melons.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And so once you get the flower going or the fruit's about to grow, you just put it through the wire, so it then grows on the underside. So it's not trying to grow on the top.
Cool, yeah. I forgot to ask him about the seeding. I mentioned it first, but he didn't measure up. Because I don't know what to do. He'd get doubly
These
frustrated.
things,
Like yes, have a kind of a somewhere where you can just sit instead of having to have these.
Yeah.
It would be a similar sort of thing up here.
Yep.
At the end of each
in a
one.
bit.
I mean, I think that might depend on who. And like you, oh, you've got this. At the
Yeah,
end
I've
of
got this
yours.
here, and it may not be here forever, but I don't mind it being there. If you look, this is middle of winter, and so it'll only be a few weeks, and that shade, that's sort of good. It means I've got one part of the garden that gets
In the
morning
summer.
shade,
Yeah.
and in summer that's going to be in full sun.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So
That's right. it comes
I don't
straight
mind that being there because it's not going to take too much sunlight out.
Yeah, yeah. But
it is
I'm
keeping
thinking
it
about,
shade.
yeah, I'm thinking about whether people would mind having a sitting at the end of their bed if they're in.
I don't mind. I think I'd actually prefer that to this. I mean, it's cool if the kids have got something to
Yeah.
mud. What do they call them? Mud
that
kitchens.
was right over there. You can shift it wherever you want.
Yeah. I mean, I may bring it up just because
Yeah. Yeah, bring it up.
you can see where that shade line is
Yeah,
now, but give it a month or two. That shade, that's going to be in full sun.
Yeah.
It's only going to be
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me too much. And it
Still.
is good that they've got some, but I mean, it all comes down to how often are they going to use it.
Why can't they can put it over there?
Yeah.
They have it over there. They don't have it
Yeah, or even it could be. I mean, it would take away from the look of having it part of the sandpit there.
Yeah.
But you could have it next to the sandpit.
You could.
Because it's meant to be for the sandpit. Oh no, this is actually for them to learn how to put pot plants up. And,
I don't know. I think it was just donated.
yeah.
And it's really not doing very well in the sun because it's deteriorated so much.
Yeah, no, it's just made out of
Yeah.
again treated fencing timber. So it sort of goes against the.
So yes, I forgot to ask about that. So anyway, that's something I can ask the meeting. Make a note. I think that's what they tried to do originally, but no one ever sits on it because it's too low, I suppose. Or maybe
It could be. You could repurpose all of those big sleepers for something else then. Yeah. But that's the other thing is I know how to make grandeur,
Yeah,
and I could actually make grandeur seat
yeah.
out of dirt. Get a couple of bags of cement. I've got the machine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we won't worry about that.
And the only thing
It's
that
gonna
would
be so
make it easy
expensive.
would be to hire a dingo for like a 2 days.
Yeah.
And I've got a cement mixer, but you know, if we had a second cement mixer, that would help.
Yeah.
And
there'd be people.
many hands, that's the
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah.
And we just build one form,
Yeah.
and they all copy the same, and they can be. I can send you. I'll email you links to random stuff, and you can see.
Yeah.
When you finish with them, you can smash it up with a sledgehammer and turn it back to dirt again. So it's
Perfect.
yeah, it doesn't cost much. It's a couple of bags of cement, like half a bag of cement in each one.
Yeah.
So like the material cost is almost nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. That's good recycling as well.
Yeah.
I said,
Because it
he said there's a lot of timber, you know, a lot of timber in that.
Yep.
And I said, oh, we've got probably a few thousand. He said, oh, yeah. So 100,000 is not going to go far, is it?
it's amazing how much
We
building
might
stuff costs.
we might get 5, not 10.
Yeah, you almost could go. There's sawmills. There's sawmills a little bit further out
Yeah.
that will deliver.
Yeah.
That will actually make to order. Like they'll be like, yeah, we're cutting this tree down. We'll mill it for you and bring it all. So it's all one tree,
Yeah.
or 2 or 3 trees, and you can pick the species.
Yeah.
That could actually.
That'd be cheaper.
It could be, depending once
Because
you
it's
get up
direct.
to that volume,
It's direct. So
Direct
you haven't got
from
the
them.
middleman.
and it can be more sustainable too. They might be like a
Yeah.
sustainable
Yeah.
forestry.
Can you
I'll do a
inquire
bit of
about that?
searching about that. So I know a guy who's been
Yeah.
using some of these companies.
Yeah.
And
But at least I'll have a bit of a ballpark.
Yeah.
I said, could you do a really rough thing by... I said, I'll do my quotes tomorrow, so I'll get a really rough estimate and probably blow us away.
Yeah.
That's why people are doing the untreated pine bit.
Yeah, because it's already dressed and straight.
Yeah.
Unless it's already bent,
Yeah.
it's not going to go much work.
Yeah. But it doesn't last, does it? Or
No.
just because it's treated.
Yeah, you get 10 years luckily,
Yeah.
or sometimes a little bit longer. But
And then it goes to the landfill.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to Are you
yeah, I'll do that.
So I put all these attachments of forestry and, and treated it there. But I know there's a bit of a backlash. People thinking it's too expensive. Let's just get the treated stuff, that's okay for veggies, that sort of thing.
It's much quicker for the carpenter
Yeah.
to build.
Yeah.
Lighter on his saw.
Yeah.
It's quicker. It's much like just handling
Yeah.
3 meter lengths of hardwood is very heavy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one person can carry 2,
Yeah.
whereas it's usually 2 people carrying 1.
Yeah.
Or, one person can carry 1, but
Yeah.
you wear yourself out.
Yeah.
And drilling,
Yeah.
it's much harder to
Yeah,
drill,
of course.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they're more prone to twist.
Yeah.
So you're going to spend more time planting
Yeah.
but it is worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Because it will last for 50 years.
Yeah.
You look at these.
This is
Railway
only messy because it wasn't done in one go. It was like the sides were just whatever it was.
Yeah, it was originally marked out to put the tops and tails and then they had to so.
So all that was done was the tops and tails. Because I think that one of the designers didn't want to have any sides. He likes the idea of shoveling inside.
Yeah.
But everybody has put sides in, so
But then that's how you've got these nice walkways in between everything. Because you've got that.
Yeah. So
Does make
back
it-
me on that one because I might get a bit of flack.
Yeah, no, I will.
Anyway, I better get this phone
Yeah.
because I'm
All right, well, I'll send you that email over the next few days and
Yeah.
at least certainly Saturday,
Yeah, be good.
tomorrow. So,
Okay, thank you.
no worries, see it. You too. There we go. How is everyone? I'm just catching up on the chat. Oh, Alex is here. How you going, Alex? Cage Pass says hi, Alex. Alex says hi, everyone. How come we all got crowns? I don't know. It's just some new YouTube thing for the chat. And it's for people who contribute to the chat get crowns. So I'd say that's because you're all people that have been here in the chats for a long time. So that's cool. Here we go. Where are we?
Beyonce upgraded me. Coach Pastor says, I don't know what it takes to be one or two, number one or number two, but you started at 3. That's more concerning. But I'm going back through the chat now, and it's taken me a while. Cat's here as well. Everyone's saying g'day to Cat. Cat's saying g'day back. I'm just scrolling through. But yeah, it's something to do with the new YouTube stuff. And I've just noticed it in the last few days, so it's a new feature. So I think it's honouring people who, I don't know how it works. I'll have to do a search. But yeah, so where I'm at, I'm about to dig I'm going to angle this down a little bit. There we go. I'm at the channel, and then I'm going to start filling it in. Just going to start with the loose stuff. Get my gloves back. Yeah, they had a carpenter here to landscape it, to look at getting raised garden beds and also fixing up a bunch of the edging. So that's going to be awesome. Hopefully I can rent out or lease or whatever 1 or 2 of these raised garden beds. At least one of them would be great, so I can use it for my nature therapy mindfulness endeavors. This is my favourite shovel. It was like $90 or something, and it's worth it. It's got a really good angle, sharp, you know, strong, good for trenching. It's a plumber's shovel, but it's also good in the garden. You're not trying to dig too much at the same time, so you can work all day with it. And that's how I use it. If I dig like this, using my foot, doing that, I can just work all day long. There's a rock in here. There's some hit clay, but that's alright, clay and sand. More rocks. See the angle of it? So you get leverage action, really good leverage action. And that, you know, it's not too much soil. That's where you can really hurt yourself. This is where this shovel comes in really handy as a trenching shovel.
Try not to let any of this soil go too far. That's why I put my mattock on the line there, just to remind me. So I'm putting most of the soil on this side, but I do need to put some on that side because otherwise I'll get to the point of having to cover it back up. And I'll have no soil there. Now I'll work back from this side. Nice long handle on this shovel too. You notice, you'll see I'm using leverage here. You'll see it when I work back from the other side again. I'm keeping my back high and I'm bending a little bit. I'm trying to keep my back straight. But when I'm working from the other side, you'll see I do that, and as I do that, the shovel drops and it lifts. So it pulls it up just like on an earth moving machine. You go in, cut, and you lift. So like that, see? You save energy that way. Nice trench here is emerging. I could probably make it wider. It's only really the width of the shovel at the moment. It's the other thing I do. See, that's like what you do on an earth moving machine as well. This is like an earth moving machine. You learn how to use a shovel, you can use a machine. So, see what I'm doing here? Look at that. Full shovel of dirt. Virtually no effort. And this is how you can clean out. Rather than pushing, I'm just moving the shovel up and down. There. See, even that's fine. You don't, you hit something hard, you change the angle. And then you can work out where it is. There's a rock in amongst this. Bit of a nice worm here. Put him in amongst the chives with the soil on top. Because I'll be pulling all this soil back, I don't want to disturb this worm. It's already been disturbed, so. See that? I'm not pushing hard at all, I'm just letting the shovel do the work. It's worth paying the $90 for a good shovel. This is going to last me my whole life. The other thing is, good shovel comes with a good wood handle. This needs a bit of work on it. I'm going to fill in these cracks with super glue and then sand it and repaint it. give this a clean up, but it's still pretty sharp. Doesn't really need sharpening. It's just good quality tools. I think this mattock is 10 years old now, and it used to be like that long. I've worn it down. I haven't worn this end down much. I only use this for cutting roots. This is the main end. So I'm going to dig down a bit on either side now and then empty out, and then I'll start filling. There should be a rock there or something. Because I've got a nice flat base to this channel, means I can clear all this dirt out nice and easy. Try not to stand on any of this dirt as least as possible. It's just going to make more work. I'm going to try and fill it back up again. Yeah. Take a break. Rocks here, fill up this gap. The rocks happen to be there, means I can pile more dirt up. least effort as possible. It's very similar to like with a crowbar. If you're trying to throw a crowbar in the ground, you're going to wear yourself out very quickly and hurt yourself. You let the crowbar's weight do the job. Sometimes you've got to throw it a bit, but more directing it as it falls. Just giving it a little bit of extra push. Yeah, just switch sides. Right-handed now. I usually go four a side, then I'll swap. Like that. I'll check the chat. Case Pastor says, yeah, reminds me of harder, faster, stronger. That's it. Alex says, yeah, that's old school. Yeah, cheers, man. Luke's going to read the chat later and go, what? Totally. We're all a bunch of silly gooses. No, this is awesome. Case Pastor says, I was just being cheeky. Cheeky gooses, says Alex. Can't hear anything. Okay. Hopefully you can hear now. I don't know. I'll just mute and unmute. Okay, hopefully that did something. Yeah, we've got someone else here. Moonwolf Dog's here. Awesome. How you going, Moonwolf? And Eric Leon. Awesome. Some channel regulars. It's all good friends here. Actually, there's heaps of chat. I won't have time to read through all this because I need to keep digging. So I'll let everyone just chat with amongst each other's. And awesome to see you all here. But yeah, I'll give you, I just read the last comment. Cage Pastor says, yeah, dry heat is easy. Yeah, this is, it's a beautiful, perfect day today. It's saying 31 degrees, but that's because my watch is on my arm. I'd say it's about 28 degrees Celsius. So it's like 60 something, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Beautiful. I'm sweating, but it's not too hot. I do have sweat, but I'm not drenched. Another simple thing with digging, rather than trying to go all the way from one end when you've got a lot of loose soil that you can out, take the top layer first and then come back through. Then you can either do a second pass or go straight into the reach the base. Remember to take your breaks. It's very frustrating when you're trying to make a pile. You don't have much space to put it. The soil can come back down into the trench. So that can be very frustrating. So what I usually do is very gently place it. There's less movement. See, I'm rotating the shovel. Not like doing that or anything like that. So I want to use, I need to cover this with this soil at the end. And it's going to build up with all the material I put in there. So we're pretty much at the end. It does go up a bit here. I think we'll call that ready. So I'll rest for a bit. And then I'll start filling it. So I'll do a pan around and show you what I've done today. That's the apple, and mostly apple and mulberry, which I cut the other day and cut up into bits. I'm going to fill that. I forget what this stuff's called again. Sounds like Ganesha, like the Hindu god. It's like an elephant. Something, I'll look it up. I'll be able to find out when I look it up, but it's like ginger. And you can see there's all the piles of roots, but all of this green stuff here, that's going in the hole I just built. And then that's the corner of the bed there. And I've got to fix this. This timber is has to be reset, but it can stay like that today. And so I might move the camera now. So you can see this is what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to put some green and then twigs and then green and then twigs. I'm sort of going to alternate it a bit. We'll see how it goes. I might cut these green stuff up as I go too. So I'll get my secateurs. I don't know what this vine is. I'm guessing it may be a weed. when I placed all this, I placed it all the same way in a line, so it makes it easier when I pick it up. You know what? I don't think I need the secateurs. I'm just going to throw it in there. And I'm going to alternate it. So twisting this around 180. I'll leave the rest of that. Actually, the rest of that green will go on top. So I cut these into foot-long sections roughly. Some of them are longer. Make sure I'm not getting grass. Throwing that back in, that's the point of doing that. I'm just trying to have it all evenish, and I'll compact it down as I go. Because I took the time cutting this up, there's only a few sections. But like those two pieces I'll pop down. It's alright having air gaps. You're going to have air gaps, but you don't want massive gaps. That's why I'm crushing it down as I go. I'll show you what it looks like before I put the rest of the green stuff in, which I can't remember its name. If someone can do a search for me while I'm here. This stuff, it's like ginger. It starts with a G. It's not turmeric or ginger, but it's something else. So you could do a Google search, plants like ginger or turmeric starting with G. You'll probably come up with the answer. Sounds like ganja or Ganesha or Gundry. Ganesh? No? I should have paid more attention. There you go. Show you what it looks like. See? So this isn't going to be a massively raised bed, but it's still hugelkultur because it's putting in the... It will get raised once put that soil on top. There will be a mound in the center. So all right. So I'd say just enough of this green stuff. feeling a little bit dizzy. So whenever you feel dizzy, just don't stand up, squat, or sit on the ground. Just getting the big clumps that have got clay and sand, breaking them up. It's another thing you can do. I'm dizzy at the moment, so I'm just leaning on my shovel. It is starting to get quite hot. It's not hot really. Okay, something I forgot to do is to stomp it down one last time. So now, lots of good things. I dug this down to the clay soil, clay sand layer, and there's now a ditch there. So if I water this, water will go into there and collect there, and the roots can go down and collect from it, the moisture will come back up through the soil, even if the roots don't make it there. The worms will get in there. They'll love it. Just breaking up the chunks of clay as I come across them. The clay's already half broken down. It's a combination of clay sand. We're right near a creek here, and it's an old floodplain. So has hundreds of years of sand and clay, silt runoff. Thousands probably, you know. But obviously you go down deeper. Again, I'm trying to just use as least amount of effort as possible here. I am at that point of getting dizzy and things like that, so I don't want to do anything too fast. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm not actually shoveling this stuff back into the hole, I'm trying to actually just scrape it. Before I go too far. Might have to shovel some of this because I walked too far down. Actually, I'll work at that from there, that side. I still will be able to scrape it. See that? Just dragging it into the... I want to keep this soil not compacted at all because I want to plant into it. So just by walking backwards on that sand, let's crush that down as much as I want it. So I'm doing a grading motion, you know, like graders that make roads. So it's scraping the soil. One side's almost done. Because I was pretty careful with that line, I should be able to scrape this back without getting too many roots of stuff in there. Before I go too far, I will go through and pick out any roots that appear. lightly packing this just to give it the shape I want. Remembering not to step on any of it. Because this is in shade, I don't have to cover this. Because, you know, the soil will dry out. I do have some cardboard down there. Maybe I'll cover it with cardboard until I come back in a couple of days. This bit of soil on this side I'm not going to worry about. It's just kicking back into there. I'll at least have a clear defined edge from where I dug. So I can still plant in this edge here because it's still been aerated. I even wanted to try and avoid compacting these corners, so I still want to grow in these rows here on either side.
Don't know if you can see the shape of it there. So awesome, there's 6 people here watching. You're very lucky. Yes, that's it, that noise is a corella. There's lots of corellas here. They're the ones that go ah, ah. It does look like I've buried something there. That's it. I know my battery's about to go flat. I just got a battery warning. But you know what? I'll end the stream in a couple of minutes. It's been really great today. I'm enjoyed doing this. I've got some really good progress. I'm going to go home and have some pasta with chives and spinach. Dessert. I'm going to have some of this too. I'm going to cook the pasta with some of this ginger-like plant. I can't remember its name. And then I'm going to use mint to have mint flavored. I'm going to make a mint flavored sauce, sugary sauce, to have on top of waffles with ice cream. So I'll take photos of that and I'll show you. But I'll just leave this here and I'll show you. I'm just going to cover this with the cardboard I've got. Awesome. Very important thing I always do when I'm finishing a job. Round up your tools. Make sure they're all in one spot so you don't forget any of them. I've got the secateurs in my pocket. Thank you very much everyone for being here.
it's awesome to see like people enjoying watching this and hearing some of my tricks and techniques I use. So you got to see the building of a culture mound garden bed, and then you'll see me plant this up. But when I get home, I'll cook up a feed with all this stuff from here, spinach and chives and mint and that ginger-like plant and some nasturtium flowers in the dessert. So much love to everyone. I won't have time to read the comments, but I'll watch this back through and I'll read the comments then. I'm sure I'll have a good time doing that. Thanks you all for being here. Much love to everyone. Yeah, I'm trying to work out. Everyone's saying goodbye to each other. That's great. Much love to everyone. I didn't even know how to stop the stream. We'll see what this does. Yeah, here we go. All right. Much love. See you. Bye.